July 15th, 2025, 0600 hours local time. The USS John McCain DDG-56 maintains standard patrol course at bearing 270 degrees. Location: 12 degrees north, 116 degrees east, 40 nautical miles southwest of Mischief Reef. Sea State 3 with moderate swells rolling beneath the destroyer's Arleigh Burke-class hull. Commander Sarah Chen scans the horizon from the bridge wing, coffee steam rising in the humid morning air. The AN/SPY-1 radar array rotates methodically, sweeping the contested waters of the South China Sea. Sonar operator Petty Officer Martinez reports all quiet below the thermal layer at depth 200 feet. Bridge CIC, single surface contact bearing 095 degrees, range 28,000 yards. The contact designation appears as Track Charlie 1 on the tactical display screens. Classification unknown vessel, estimated speed 15 knots, course 240 degrees. Combat Information Center buzzes with controlled activity as sailors monitor their stations. Lieutenant Johnson adjusts the SLQ-32 electronic warfare suite parameters. Contacts emitting surface search radar, frequency band I, PRF consistent with Chinese Type 364 radar. Commander Chen steps into CIC, her boots clicking against the non-skid deck plating. Time to closest point of approach at current courses and speeds. Ma'am, CPA in 42 minutes. Estimated range 4,000 yards if neither vessel alters course. The Chinese destroyer, Type 052, D Luyang 3 class, emerges from the morning haze. Hull number 173 clearly visible on the gray-painted superstructure. Bridge, lookout reports Chinese naval ensign flying from the mainmast. Signal lamp activity from the Chinese vessel. Message reads, "You are in Chinese territorial waters." Commander Chen lifts the radio handset, tension creeping into her voice. Chinese naval vessel. This is USS John McCain operating in international waters per UNCLOS. Maintain safe distance and follow COLREGS navigation rules. Static crackles over the VHF radio before a heavily accented English response. American warship, you will alter course immediately or face consequences. The Chinese destroyer's course shifts 5 degrees to port, closing the intercept angle. Bridge, CIC. Contact has increased speed to 22 knots. Bearing rate indicates collision course. Alarm bells echo through the ship's passageways as general quarters sounds. This is not a drill. This is not a drill. All hands man your battle stations. Sailors sprint through narrow corridors, donning helmets and life vests. The bridge team dons sound-powered headphones as battle stations are manned. Weapons control. Load standard missile. 2 Block 4 in VLS cells 1 through 4. Engineering. Give me maximum available speed. Prepare for high-speed maneuvering. Radio Central. Transmit flash precedence message to 7th Fleet Headquarters. The destroyer's 4 General Electric LM-2500 gas turbines howl to life. CIC reports Chinese vessel, now at 26 knots, range down to 18,000 yards. Sir, their fire control radar just went active. Type 346 multifunction array. The Chinese destroyer's main gun turret, a single 100mm weapon, trains toward McCain. Multiple radar emissions detected, consistent with HQ-9 surface-to-air missile system. Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez grips the tactical action officer's chair, knuckles white. Sonar contact submerged bearing 078 degrees, possible Chinese submarine. Classification, Type 093 nuclear attack submarine, designated Track Charlie 2. The underwater threat adds another layer of complexity to the developing crisis. Deploy the ANSLQ-25 Nixie torpedo countermeasure system. Helicopter detachment. Prep the MH-60 Romeo for immediate launch. 700 crew members throughout the ship feel the building tension. In the engine room, machinist mates monitor temperature gauges climbing toward redline. Main engines answering all ahead flank turns for 34 knots. The McCain's hull cuts through the swells, bow wave growing larger. White water cascades over the forecastle as speed increases. Chinese destroyer bearing 092 degrees, range down to 12,000 yards. Their closing speed relative to us is now 48 knots combined. On the Chinese vessel's bridge, Captain Liu Wei issues rapid orders in Mandarin. His crew of 280 sailors prepares for potential engagement. The YJ-83 anti-ship missiles in their launch canisters stand ready. Bridge, CIC. Recommend immediate course change to starboard. New heading 320 degrees. Helm, right standard rudder, steady up on course 320 degrees. The destroyer heels into the turn, creating a 15-degree list to port. Chinese vessel is not altering course. maintaining intercept heading. Range now 8,000 yards and closing rapidly. The McCain's close-in weapons system phalanx mounts rotate toward the threat. 6-barrel 20mm Gatling guns capable of 4,500 rounds per minute. CIWS in standby mode, ready for autonomous engagement if necessary. Fire Controlman Peterson, update the Aegis Combat System threat library. Electronic warfare sensors detect multiple Chinese radar frequencies, painting the American destroyer. Contact now bearing 089 degrees, range 6,000 yards. Binoculars reveal Chinese sailors manning their battle stations. Life jackets worn, helmets secured, faces tense with anticipation. Their main gun is trained on our bridge superstructure. Torpedo tubes appear to be flooded and ready. In McCain's sickbay, Hospital Corpsman Williams prepares for potential casualties. Medical supplies arranged, stretchers positioned, battle dressing stations manned. "Doc, you need to see this," whispers a young seaman pointing at the medical TV monitor. The tactical display shows both vessels converging like two freight trains. Jesus Christ, they're really going to do this. Range 4,500 yards. Bearing drift indicates collision course maintained. The Chinese destroyer's wake creates a white scar across the blue-green water. Bridge, recommend we fire star shell illumination rounds as warning. Negative, maintain defensive posture only. Do not provide provocation. Commander Chen's jaw clenches as she weighs limited options. Chinese vessel now at range 3,800 yards. Their forward lookouts have binoculars trained on our bridge. The gap between vessels narrows with mathematical precision. Time to collision at current courses and speeds, 4 minutes 30 seconds. Engineering reports maximum sustainable speed achieved. Both ships' combat systems reach peak readiness states. The McCain's Aegis radar dome spins continuously, tracking multiple airborne contacts. Air search radar shows 2 Chinese J-15 fighters approaching from the northeast. Classification: hostile air contacts, designation track Alpha 1 and Alpha 2. Range: 45 nautical miles, altitude 20,000 feet, speed 500 knots. The Chinese fighters streak across the sky, contrails marking their passage. Each aircraft carries PL-15 air-to-air missiles and YJ-91 anti-ship weapons. Bridge: air contacts have descended to 15,000 feet, range 30 miles. Request permission to illuminate with fire control radar. Negative, maintain search radar only. Do not escalate the situation. Surface contact bearing 087 degrees, range 2,900 yards. The Chinese destroyer's hull number 173, clearly visible through telescopic sights. Red flag with yellow stars snapping in the 20-knot wind. Their crew is at general quarters. Damage control teams visible on deck. Main gun elevated to plus 15 degrees, trained on our superstructure. In the McCain's galley, cooks secure equipment for high-speed maneuvering. Coffee pots, dishes, and utensils stowed in preparation for combat. All hands, brace for impact. This is not a drill. The ship's intercom crackles with the captain's voice throughout all compartments. We are Americans. We will defend our right to navigate international waters. Range 2,400 yards. Closure rate holding steady. Chinese destroyer shows no indication of course change or speed reduction. The bridge team can now see individual Chinese sailors through optical equipment. Their forward gun mount is manned, crew wearing battle dress. Torpedo tubes trained to starboard, consistent with engagement preparation. The McCain's helicopter launches from the flight deck, MH-60, Romeo lifting off. Angel 2-1 airborne, conducting armed reconnaissance of Chinese submarine contact. The helicopter's magnetic anomaly detector sweeps the water below. Possible submarine contact bearing 075 degrees, investigating. Deploy active sonobuoys, pattern Alpha 7. Chinese destroyer range 2,000 yards, bearing 086 degrees. They're not backing down, sir. Maintaining collision course. Commander Chen feels sweat beading despite the air conditioning. All stations report material condition zebra set throughout the ship. Damage control teams standing by. Medical personnel at battle stations. The Chinese captain, Liu Wei, peers through his own binoculars at the American vessel. His political officer stands beside him, urging aggressive action. The Americans think they can intimidate us in our own waters. Maintain course. Show them the strength of the People's Liberation Army Navy. Fire control solutions updated for both surface and air targets. Range 1,800 yards, no change in Chinese course. Bridge, CIC. Air contacts now at 15 miles, descending through 10,000 feet. Chinese fighters appear to be setting up for attack runs. Request permission to engage hostile air contacts. Weapons tight. Weapons tight. Do not fire unless fired upon. The tension in Combat Information Center reaches breaking point. 24 sailors monitor screens, voices steady despite growing fear. Surface contact bearing 085 degrees, range 1,500 yards. Chinese vessel's fire control radar has locked onto our bridge. Multiple missile guidance systems showing active targeting. Both destroyers now close enough for crews to see faces. Chinese sailors line their ship's rails, some pointing at the American vessel. They have small arms visible, assault rifles, and crew-served weapons. Our Marines report ready for boarding party repulsion. Range 1,200 yards and closing steadily. The McCain's engines thunder at maximum power. Vibrations felt throughout the hull. Engineering reports turbine temperatures approaching critical limits. Fuel consumption rate at emergency levels. Recommend speed reduction. Negative. Maintain current speed until threat situation resolves. The ship cuts through increasingly rough seas at 34 knots. Chinese destroyer bearing 084 degrees. Range 1,000 yards. Bridge. Recommend immediate emergency turn to starboard. Helm. Right full rudder. Steady up on course 015 degrees. The McCain begins a sharp turn, listing heavily to port. Chinese vessel is turning to port, attempting to maintain intercept course. The Chinese destroyer's captain orders his own course change. Left full rudder, maintain intercept with American vessel. Both ships execute violent turning maneuvers in the contested waters. Range dropping below 800 yards, collision imminent. The physics of two destroyer-sized vessels at high speed become apparent. Bridge. Sonar reports Chinese submarine has launched torpedo. Torpedo in the water, bearing 270 degrees, range 4,000 yards. Torpedo appears to be a wakehomer, targeting our propeller wash. Deploy countermeasures. All stop on main engines. The ship's defensive systems activate automatically. Chinese fighters overhead begin their attack approach. Air contacts now at 8 miles, altitude 6,000 feet, speed 400 knots. Missile launch warning. Missile launch warning from airborne contacts. 2 YJ-91 anti-ship missiles inbound. Time to impact 90 seconds. The McCain's defensive systems come alive with electronic countermeasures. Chinese destroyer range 600 yards, bearing 083 degrees. Their bow wave is visible, estimated speed 28 knots. Both vessels now committed to their collision courses by momentum and pride. All hands brace for impact, collision imminent. The gap between ships narrows to football field distance. Standard missile interceptors launch from the McCain's vertical launch system. Birds away, engaging inbound anti-ship missiles. The missiles streak skyward, leaving white exhaust trails. First intercept successful, second missile still inbound. Time to impact 45 seconds. The Chinese destroyer suddenly veers hard to port. Chinese vessel changing course, turning away from collision heading. Bridge. They're passing down our starboard side at high speed. The massive gray hull slides past McCain's starboard beam. Closest point of approach 50 yards, repeat 50 yards. Both crews can see each other clearly across the narrow water gap. Chinese sailors shout and gesture angrily from their deck spaces. American sailors respond with their own verbal challenges. Range opening. Chinese destroyer clearing our starboard quarter. The immediate collision threat passes in a thunderous rush of spray. Torpedo bearing 268 degrees, range 1,000 yards, closing fast. Countermeasures deployed, Nixie system active and streaming. The acoustic decoy trails behind McCain, attempting to seduce the Chinese weapon. Torpedo has acquired countermeasures, turning away from ship. Torpedo explosion, bearing 275 degrees, no damage to ship. The second Chinese anti-ship missile penetrates defensive fire. Missile impact starboard side, frame 120, no detonation. Damage control teams investigating, possible unexploded ordnance. Fire reported on starboard side, damage control party responding. Smoke begins pouring from the McCain superstructure. Chinese fighters roar overhead at low altitude. Air contacts passing overhead, altitude 500 feet. No additional missile launches detected from airborne platforms. The jet engine's scream echoes across the water. Fighters appear to be departing to the northwest. Chinese submarine contact, bearing 280 degrees, range 6,000 yards. Classification, Type 093 nuclear attack submarine surfacing. The submarine's conning tower breaks the surface in a cascade of white water. No additional torpedo launches detected from subsurface contact. Helicopter Angel 2-1 reports Chinese submarine fully surfaced. Damage control reports missile impact caused minor structural damage only. No casualties reported, fire suppression systems effective. Chinese destroyer bearing 078 degrees, range 2,000 yards, opening. The immediate tactical situation begins to de-escalate. All stations report status and any battle damage. Both naval forces withdraw to safe distances. The Chinese destroyer resumes a northeasterly course toward Hainan Island. McCain maintains position while assessing damage and gathering intelligence. Radio Central, transmit incident report to Pacific Fleet immediately. Include full tactical picture and weapons employment details. The helicopter continues surveillance of the Chinese submarine. Angel 2-1 reports Chinese submarine beginning to submerge. Periscope depth maintained, snorkel extended, diesel engines running. Contact bearing drift indicates withdrawal toward deeper water. The immediate crisis passes, but tensions remain high. Commander Chen surveys her ship from the bridge wing. Smoke dissipates from the missile impact point on the starboard side. Executive Officer, conduct full damage assessment and personnel accountability. Radio, contact 7th Fleet Medical and request casualty evacuation standby. We nearly started World War III out here today. The Chinese destroyer disappears over the horizon. Both nations' governments immediately begin crisis management procedures. Diplomatic channels activate as military leaders assess the incident. Bridge, Communications Central reports priority message traffic incoming. Classification, flash override, direct from Pacific Fleet Commander. The McCain limps toward Subic Bay at reduced speed. Her crew processes the reality of near combat in contested waters. Chinese forces demonstrated willingness to use lethal force in territorial disputes. American resolve tested but maintained in critical moment. The South China Sea crisis enters a dangerous new phase of escalation.